Hello everyone, Fred here from the CC Network, and on this, the holiest of days, I'm doing a Friday Flashback pay-per-view review that I never wanted to do. ECW's December to Dismember 2006. Oh boy. You see, when I initially did requests to get a backlog of reviews ready when I restarted this, I knew that someone out there would throw a trolling spanner into my lovely laden plan. And you know who did it? Oh, kayfabe. You were the one who requested this. You have made me waste 4.5 hours of my life watching this event twice for analytical and scripting purposes, which I am never going to get back. And inevitably, you have ruined Christmas for me. I hope you're happy that you're getting this review as a nice, lovely little Christmas present. As you can tell, I'm probably not the happiest person in the world, knowing I had to watch this show. Anyway, this event stands out for a number of albeit negative reasons. First of all, it was a pay-per-view held only 1 week after Survivor Series, meaning it received no build whatsoever, and two, had only 2 matches announced beforehand, so we would get 4 announced on the night without any prior warning. And then on top of that, 3, it is the least bought pay-per-view pre-network in WWE's history, gaining only 90,000 domestic buys. Now, I did watch this when it aired at the time, but luckily for me, with Sky Sports package at the time only being roughly about £15 a month for sport, it technically averaged out cheaper than the full American price of $39.95, and the fact that 90,000 households paid that much for this? Wow, it is ridiculous to think, isn't it? Also, another thing kind of sprung up in the making of this video. Usually a Friday Flashback review has me going through the match in detail with the images of the matches on the left-hand panel that you see currently taken up by the poster for this show. Well, here is a problem. WWE's website doesn't really want anything to do with this event, and the pictures are no longer existent. My usual source, Pro Wrestling Wiki, doesn't have any pictures that aren't live TV footage. So I realised, you know what, I don't want to get through this event and take up a lot of time as much as you guys do listening, so inevitably what I'm going to do is just talk about what my viewpoints on the match was and just give the result as is, because if you want to watch this event and take it all in yourself, go ahead and do so, but I am not going to ruin what happens in these matches, apart from some things that are essential to my analytical area. So hopefully this should treat you all to a shorter review in the long run. Anyway, ECW December to Dismember 2006 took place on the 3rd of December 2006 at the James Brown Arena in Augusta, Georgia, where over 4,800 people turned up. Pretty good. Bodies by Drowning Pool was obviously the theme song, as of course ECW had no other theme songs at this time. Now, before I properly begin, didn't Joey Styles kind of spoil the main event by saying that they would crown a new champion inside the chamber? Like, seriously, what a spoiler that is! I mean, Big Show is going in there as champion, the title isn't vacant for God's sake. I don't know whether they just did that because, of course, they knew the show was going to fail. They might as well troll the fans by saying, hey, we're going to put this in here. But seriously, Joey, you want to spoil the event for everybody who doesn't know? Anyway, first up we have the tag team match of Eminem versus the Hardy Boys. Now, simply put, Jeff and Matt decided to start teaming up and inevitably put out a challenge to any tag team to face them at December to Dismember. Now, for those of you who, of course, were into dirt sheets at the time, which I wasn't, the Voodoo Kin Mafia of TNA decided to try and answer the challenge and start a war against WWE. Of course, they were the former New Age Outlaws, which, of course, meant that they can go over to WWE headquarters and mock DX for it, which is quite lovely. However, Vince McMahon didn't acknowledge it, and neither did ECW, as Eminem decided to come in and accept the challenge instead, taking their offer up on the first Raw of asking. Then, the Hardys went on to ECW on Sci-Fi to quote-unquote practice, beating the undefeated Burke and Turkai before Eminem came in and beat them up afterwards. Now, of course, this is the first of the 2 advertised matches in the night, and you know where the other one is, so you'll be wondering where the other matches inevitably came from, right? Anyway, the match result came through as follows, with Matt and Jeff defeating Eminem in 22 minutes and 33 seconds off a double cutter and a swanton bomb with Mercury and Nitro sandwiched on top of each other. Now, this was by far the best match of the night. It had back and forth momentum shifts, and while it was slow to begin with, once it got going with some hard-hitting double team moves to boot, the match made the crowd come unglued. And the psychology was surprisingly body-centric, with Mercury's arm and Jeff's back being the focus of the slower moments, while Melina was the sole storyline instigator by ruining the Hardys' moves and pinfalls, and inevitably setting up the finish, which made the Hardy victory even sweeter. Now this match was 23 minutes, which for me was a little long, but it did do a lot to ensure the viewers were left satisfied. And they weren't lying, because when I list to you right now the moves that were included in this match, you'll see why. First off, a double wheelbarrow suplex by the Hardys, a sit-out cross powerbomb by Matt, a double gutbuster by Eminem, a double wheelbarrow facebuster by Eminem, a suplex into a double neckbreaker counter by Matt, a sit-out DDT by Jeff, a springboard belly-to-belly counter by Mercury, followed up by Nitro jumping straight over the top rope onto the outside. Lovely. A springboard missile dropkick by Nitro, a backbreaker apron elbow combo by Eminem, a bulldog clothesline combo by Matt, a double superplex by both Hardys, and finally the aforementioned double cutter and the sandwiched senton. It was a match that delivered in pretty much every way it could have done, even if it took its time in doing so, and oh my, I completely forgot how ear-piercingly loud those screams of Melina were. Oh my God, I had forgotten how awful they were to sit through. Anyway, as I've already highlighted, this is the best match of the night, and it shows with a 3.5 star rating. Not too shabby to kick things off, but as you will know, and you will probably expect, this pay-per-view gets worse from here. Oh yes. Next up, we have an interesting match, as Matt Striker takes on Balls Mahoney. Now, Mahoney, an ECW original, got kinda tired of Striker running his mouth saying that he couldn't wrestle by the rules of the ring, and challenged Striker to, well, fight by his rules, an Extreme Rules match at December to Dismember. And, however, this wasn't going to be the case, as Matt Striker came out before the match and proclaimed that due to his role as a teacher, it was up to him to restore order in this extreme society that he's in, and that their match would instead be one held in the strictest accordance to the rules, which means, of course, no eye gouging, no hair pulling, and no foul language, and otherwise, no top rope moves. Very interesting, would it not be, to see if Mahoney could wrestle under Striker's rules. Now, if I ever wanted to see a clash of styles and looks, this would be one. Also, Striker has his face on the back of his trunks, so you've got to wonder about a man who sits on his own face, as Joey Styles makes that exact remark and gets the commentary call of the night from me. Now, Mahoney defeated Striker off a sit-out spinebuster in 7 minutes and 23 seconds. Now, while many will criticise this match for not having anything to offer because of its limiting stipulation, I have to praise Striker and the combined duo of Taz and Joey Styles for why this match is getting a higher rating than it otherwise probably would deserve. The premise itself does make it a more interesting match psychology-wise, which when you consider it and combine it with Striker working Mahoney's arm and with Mahoney selling it, it comes out pretty good, even if it's a very slow match that the fans have no interest in, minus the odd chance to boo Striker and chant balls out loud, because who wouldn't? Styles and Taz are making me laugh my arse off with their anecdotes and statements, although it actually altogether felt more like a comedy match that they were taking way too seriously. But hey, It's a good source of comedy anyway, and all in all, outside of the psychology and my enjoyment from it, as well as a little bit of crowd reaction, this match would have completely tanked if it wasn't for all of those. And even though it went on longer than I expected, it built up to a solid finish, and I have to give it props for this match that gave out so little that proved to be very entertaining for what it was. Now, Balls Mahoney stated in an interview this year that he would have wanted to do his finishing move off the second rope because it would have not technically broken the rules and he would have inevitably pissed off Striker, and I can understand that being a good finish. And I'm annoyed WWE didn't, but I will tell you now, if this makes you lose all confidence to not watch wrestling as a fan, Balls, you may want to reconsider, because there are worse matches on this card that could demoralize you to do that. I'm not doubting you, as you were the one in this match, but come on, I'm just saying here, this isn't the worst thing on the card. In fact, this is probably actually the third best match on it, which isn't too bad. It's a 1-star match. Now, some people may think I'm being generous. Well, maybe I am, but I actually enjoyed this one for what it was worth anyway. Next up, we have the full-blooded Italians, Little Guido Marciano and Tony Mamaluke, versus Elijah Burke and Sylvester Terkay. Now, Burke and Terkay were undefeated on SmackDown throughout the middle of 2006 through to November when they moved to ECW. And they had their undefeated run, like I highlighted earlier, defeated by the Hardys. And they just simply came out here and said, you know what, we'll challenge anybody. And the full-blooded Italians came out and responded. And the first minute or two was basically Taz ogling Trinity, because dear God, that is as a revealing outfit if I ever saw one. Jeez. Anyway, Burke and Terkay defeated Guido and Mamaluke off the Elijah experience in 6 minutes and 41 seconds. Now, if you ever want to see what a glorified elongated squash match looks like, you found it here. Terkay and Burke were dominant throughout, and the little offense that the FBI got did actually wake the crowd up, but of course, it didn't last very long, and therefore the crowd remained completely stagnant. Burke and Terkay's dominance, though, didn't translate into anything entertaining, which should be a thing, because if you're going to dominate two guys who are way smaller, especially in the case of Terkay, you want to throw them around like ragdolls and beat the living piss out of them. Because this guy's a former MMA fighter, for God's sake, as well as an amateur champion. Why isn't he not doing that? Oh, but nonetheless, and I will tell you this, the only major moment in the entire match was seeing both FBI members do a double drop kick to Terkay's knees to finally put him down on the ground. And he pretty much got back up at least a minute afterwards to direct the match towards its finish, so it didn't really even make any sense anyway. Oh my God, this was a yawn-inducing match that had a very, very, very predictable outcome. And when you couple in the TNA chants at the end of the match off of Burke and Terkay using Jeff Jarrett and Samoa Joe's finishers respectively, you get a very boring match indeed. It gets the first 0 rating of the night. Also, this was Terkay's sole pay-per-view appearance as well. You know what? I always liked Sylvester Terkay. I never liked Elijah Burke that much, but damn, I thought Terkay had potential. And if he was booked right, he could have done better, but he was released less than a month later. Wow, that kind of says a lot, doesn't it? Awful. Nonetheless, everybody, the next match isn't going to be getting any better. And you'll see why, because we have Daivari. You know, the manager of Muhammad Hassan, Kurt Angle, Mark Henry, and now the great Khali versus ECW original and all-round nice guy, Tommy Dreamer. Daivari had an undefeated streak going back to his debut on ECW earlier in the year, which was mostly thanks to Khali choke-bombing his opponents to get him the win. Dreamer, the heart and soul of ECW, as he's affectionately known as, wanted to give Daivari a little taste of extreme by putting an end to his streak. And it didn't happen, because Daivari defeated Dreamer off a roll-up in 7 minutes and 22 seconds. Now, this match was building to Dreamer winning, and I can tell because 1, he dominated most of the offense, and Khali got thrown out. So the fact that it ended off a roll-up with Daivari getting the win, it just ruined this, and it was disappointing. However, you know what? It wasn't as disappointing as just this entire match in general. Because, you know, outside of Carly getting thrown out, nothing else happened. It was painfully slow. So slow, in fact, that I could watch paint dry and it would be more entertaining than this. Oh, good God. Now, I know Daivari and Dreamer can put out better matches than this. I know how good they are. But the fact that they gave me a match that was so plodding, baseless, lackluster, and awful, it was just ridiculous. And the ending, after the match, seeing Dreamer run after Daivari and then get choke-bombed on the steel and then having him get back up triumphantly while still injured and refusing help to the back, was much better than the entire bloody match. Although we didn't need about 6 replays of Carly choke-bombing Dreamer to emphasize the impact, the guy was selling like a boss. So, if the ending that wasn't even in the match is better than the match itself, you haven't done your job. And it's going to be getting a 0 all the way to the bank. That's 7 minutes. 7.5 minutes. I am never going to get back. Oh, good God. It can't literally get any worse, can it? Can it? Annoyingly, it just might. We have the mixed tag match, putting Mike Knox and Kelly Kelly against Kevin Thorne and Ariel. I've just realised this is the 3rd tag match we've had on this card. Oh boy. Anyway, Knox and Kelly Kelly had been having problems due to their relationship because Kelly got infatuated with CM Punk. Now, Knox attacked Punk various times due to his jealousy. Thorne and Ariel, however, within their vampire subculture, are what is considered a perfect couple, if such a thing exists in this ECW universe, and wanted to face off with them here. No real reason. And before the match begins, Kelly Kelly wishes Punk good luck in the Extreme Elimination Chamber match afterwards, while looking and sounding the most nervous I have ever seen a person be. She looked so scared to be even out there. Because most of her segments up until this point were probably pre-taped on the Extreme Expose, but oh my God. Anyway, Ariel and Thorne defeated Knox and Kelly after Knox walked out, for allowing Ariel to get the pin off a leg sweep at 7 minutes and 43 seconds. This was longer than the previous match, and that was bad. Oh, let me just point this out. This was as boring as the match that preceded it, okay? The in-ring work was slow, sloppy, and non-existent, with the crowd literally only popping when the crowd got a look up Ariel's very short twill skirt to show off her ass. Now seriously, when a woman's ass is the only way a match can get a smidgen of crowd reaction and it's ridiculous. I'm literally watching this thinking, wow, you can scrape the barrel and not judge how bad this is based off that. But, you've thrown a stinker if an arse shot is the only thing worth it for the crowd. However, is it worse than Dreamer versus Daivari? And I'm going to say no, because of one instigating, redeeming factor. And that's because Mike Knox walking out on Kelly Kelly is where this storyline was building. It made sense, and it gave a tiniest bit of psychology, which is why it has a 0.5 next to the 1 there, rather than just having 1s across the board. However, as that is the lone reason, it doesn't save the rest. It does not. This match is a 0. No question at all, and we've just had 3 zeros in a row. Surely, the chamber match has to save this show. But can it? Well, we're about to find out as we finally reach the main event, the Extreme Elimination Chamber for the ECW World Heavyweight Championship. Now, Rob Van Dam, in the build-up to this match, had won 3 different matches to earn a shot at the Big Show, who of course Paul Heyman had turned heel on to make champ in the first place, and decided, I'm going to cash this in at December to Dismember. Paul Heyman decided, you know what, I'm not going to allow you to face the Big Show, so I'm going to put on an Extreme Elimination Chamber instead. And RVD said, you know what, I will take that shot of yours and turn myself into a participant for this match. Sabu, CM Punk, and Test all won qualification matches on ECW's weekly show to cement their places. Hardcore Holly, who along with Test and the Bashams as well as the Big Show was part of Heyman's little stable, was supposed to take the last spot, but a debuting Bobby Lashley from Friday Night SmackDown came in, roughed house, and decided to sign the contract and put his name in his place. Heyman was annoyed by this obviously and said, "You know what, RVD, you're the one to blame for this, you're the one who got someone in to ruin my plans, I'm going to put your spot on the line against Hardcore Holly in a weekly match. Let's see how you do." And RVD won, which made him fine, and it looks like all of the places have been secured. Or so we think, because earlier on in the evening, if you have actually been watching or had watched this event at the time, Sabu was found unconscious in the back, making him forced to be replaced by none other than Hardcore Holly, which didn't go over well with the crowd, who, mind you, were chanting bullshit. Whew, they did not like it. They did not. Now, RVD and Holly, considering what they've been putting each other through in recent weeks, had started the match off, with Punk entering in third, Test in fourth, Lashley in fifth, and Big Show last. CM Punk was eliminated first by RVD with a 5-star frog splash at the 13-minute mark. Hardcore Holly followed soon after as Test turned on his fellow Heyman ally by hitting him with a running big boot. RVD was eliminated next by Test 2 minutes later due to the spot of the night, a jumping elbow drop from the top of a chamber pod hitting a chair laying across Rob Van Dam's face. Jesus Christ. Whew. Test was then eliminated by Bobby Lashley 5 minutes later at the 19-minute mark off a spear. Finally, Big Show was eliminated off another spear to crown Bobby Lashley the new ECW World Champion. And I will correct myself, the longest match of the night, not the opener, at 24 minutes and 42 seconds. Now, this match was limited in many, many, many ways. Firstly, by having Sabu taken out of it, which would have made it much more exciting. Secondly, taking CM Punk out first, followed by RVD, which killed the crowd. And as a result, thirdly meant that Lashley was going to win, which made the crowd pretty much turn on this match completely. Now, even with Punk and RVD in the match, they weren't in it long enough for it to have a drastic effect on the match's pace, which was slow for almost its entire 25-minute runtime. The predictability of the match just made it feel like, even with this stipulation of all these extreme weapons and the Elimination Chamber, it all just doesn't matter. Especially considering two of the extreme elements, the table and the barbed wire, weren't actually properly used. They weren't even hit over someone's head or put through. They were all wasted. They were wasted by two wrestlers who didn't use them. But while I may be ripping on this match quite a bit here, don't worry, because it is saved by its psychology and its move variety. While that move variety was small compared to the opening contest, it lived up to the match's history with the aforementioned elbow drop by Test, oh my word, which was, as I've highlighted, the match spot of the night. But it was also preceded by RVD having his leg dropped onto that steel chair, having it being put through in the turnbuckle, and then having Punk drop kick it. Yes, Punk did most of the psychological damage, which is brilliant, and it looked pretty sick as well. And when you combine that with Lashley's top rope diving clothesline and a spike DDT off of Big Show's chokeslam, it stands out beneath all the lackluster action in between, excluding the steel chair dropkick by Punk to RVD before, of course, like I've mentioned, before Test entered the fold. And while the outcome was predictable, the way the psychology built up to it was simply done, but executed in a way to not make Big Show look completely weak, with the Bashams preventing him from entering, resulting in breaking the pod open using the table, and having Lashley block the barbed wire bat with the shots from the chair, and having him wail on the bloody Big Show with his desire to win coming across perfectly. However, like I've already highlighted, CM Punk did most of the selling and the bodywork, and he overshadowed it all, because he sold his back off a monkey flip to the chair, and even after gaining offense. Now, RVD, who was bleeding a lot as by the point he left the match, had that aforementioned leg up to the chair, but he sold it so well by groggily walking around before his hitting that turnbuckle dropkick that he loves doing with steel chairs. Now, Holly hit a superplex, hurting Punk's back even more, with him selling well, and he gets even better than that. Test just wrenched the crowbar into RVD's open head wound with the moment he got into the match. And then you have the screwing of Holly by Test as well. Overall, you have a lot to build the ranking up on, despite very little else happening apart from what I've mentioned here. Now, that being said, does it get this match a very good rating? No. Because while the psychology and move variety were great for this match, it did little to make how slow it was, and by the end of it, the crowd just didn't care for the booking direction. Overall, yeah, the psychology was great. The move variety had little sprinkles of some good stuff in there. And it shows that this match was a match with a lot of potential. And it just didn't really do anything with it. It got wasted. The whole premise got wasted. And, you know, I may be a little kind here. I'm going to give it a 2-star rating. Now, I will tell you this, it is miles better than the Intercontinental Championship Chamber match that we saw here in 2015 earlier this year, but for a Chamber main event in 2006, which had to live up to 4 great matches that preceded it, it just could not do it. And, ladies and gentlemen, that is mightily disappointing. Now, on to my final thoughts. All of you who are watching this know how bad of a reputation this event has, and after watching it for the first time since it aired, I can wholly see why. Outside of the 2 advertised matches and the little entertainment that Striker and Mahoney gave me, this event was woeful. 3-0 ratings out of 6 matches is a horrible return. Even though Mahoney and Striker did entertain, it was mostly Joey Styles and Taz doing the work. And while I will praise the commentators, along with the Chamber match participants, Eminem and the Hardys, the rest of this event was just as bad as I remember it, and probably thought it would be. But then again, back in 2006, I blindly ate up whatever WWE threw at me, and thought it to be good regardless, because internet smartdom hadn't reached me yet. And I did consider this event to be average. But over 9 years later, I'm a much more knowledgeable wrestling fan who cares a lot more about what happens in the ring and what it means to make a good match, in my opinion. And to have 3 of the worst 0-rated matches that I have seen in recent memory fall under the same card, which hasn't been matched on a pay-per-view reviewed by this channel since WrestleMania 27, if I'm not mistaken, it really does say a lot about the quality of this show. And if anything, please go out of your way to see the Hardys take on Eminem. But the rest of it, just don't waste your time. A number on my final rating scale sums this up so well. It reads like this: horrible, with 1 match saving it. Money wasted, definitely. If that doesn't describe this show, then I don't know what will. And with only 1 out of the 6 matches going anywhere near the average mark of 2.5 stars, and the other 2 non-zero matches barely attaining what they got outside of sheer luck, wow, this event will deserve what little it will get. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not Heroes of Wrestling bad. But my god, it is the closest that WWE have gotten to it in recent memory for sure. ECW December to Dismember gets the lowest rating that I have ever given to this channel, which is of course now minusing the annulled rating that I shamefully gave WrestleMania 10 a few years ago. Which is 1.5 out of 10. I beg you, wrestling fans of the world, if you want to put yourself through this, only do so if you want to watch all the WWE and ECW events. Otherwise, I would be right to call you an out-and-out sadist for wanting to put yourself through it. Good God. Whew. This pay-per-view review is finally over with. Ladies and gentlemen, I am done talking. If you like this format and you want to see it again, comment so in the comment section. You want to see more Friday Flashbacks? Go click the subscribe button along with other content this channel has. I'm just done. I want to get out of here now. I don't want to think about this pay-per-view anymore. I don't want to do it. 1.5 out of 10. Good God. I have been Freddie Thomas. You've been people listening. This has been the ECW December to Dismember 2006 Friday Flashback review for the CC Network, and I hope you've all had a great Christmas, and will have a very happy New Year. This will be the last time you hear from me until sometime in January, with some more content coming as the new year breaks. I hope you all have a great end of the year, and I hope everything goes well. I'll see you all then, and unlike me, stay safe by not watching this show. Cheers, everybody. I'll see you all in 2016.